Well, you know, we've already heard many views about race and racism in America, and you may have even heard something that's made you cringe. Well, sometimes being part of the conversation is so challenging that people avoid it altogether. But as we discussed since the beginning of this hour right here, talking about it is just the first step to effecting change. Where's Rachel? Okay, go up here. Hi, hello. What's your comment?
Well, you know, I've always struggled being a part of the conversation on race because I'm afraid that people of other ethnic groups won't respect my opinion because I'm white and I don't understand what they've been through. In college, my first year, we elected Barack Obama as president, which was a very exciting year. A lot of people didn't like it, a lot of people did, and I just felt like we were so focused on the fact that he was black, and we should focus on the things he wants to do. I mean, he's a man. I agree with you. God made us all the same. And I just felt like my view wasn't really, you know, taken as such. They were like, no, you don't really get it, Rachel.
Oh, you mean from some of the African-American students?
Yeah, in my group, yeah. We'd sit around the table and discuss things. And...
Oh, well, the voting of Barack Obama for president for black people was very different. I never thought in my lifetime I would see an African-American president. When he became president, it was somebody that I could show my children, look, you can do that too. Yeah. Look how far we've come, from slavery to the White House. That was the monumental moment for them. Your viewpoint is still 100% valid because you're saying, hey, we shouldn't focus on the fact that, see, white people didn't vote for him so he could be the first black president. They voted for him because of what he stood for and what he said. Whatever the case may be, I'll tell you a funny story. I was on a plane with a guy. He said, you know, this is probably none of my business. You don't have to ask a question, but have you decided who you're going to vote for? I said, yeah, Barack Obama. And so we talked a little bit longer. He said, I don't want you to get offended by this. Are you voting for Barack Obama simply because he's black? I said, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly why I'm voting for him. Yeah, I like what he's saying and all like that, but I got a deeper thing here. I could not tell you how I felt for the first time as an American in this country to think that so many of us could come together and feel the same way about something.
Like I said, it was a really proud moment. Like, I was really excited about it, so.
That's great. That's great. Thank you very much. Let me just go to Jose. Jose, how do we get everybody involved in the conversation?
For me, I think, especially when we were doing this film, I think a lot of it is listening. You know, I mean, I've been in places like Alabama, Tennessee, and Ohio, and you're talking to, you know, white people who are struggling economically. And they're like, I'm not privileged. You know, no one's giving me any quote unquote handouts. How come they get, again, this idea of they, those people, the other people, right? And for me, the biggest thing is, where is it really coming from? How do I listen to that? And then how do I force a conversation that becomes about one of empathy? So I think that's part of the conversation that we need to have.
Yes.
You know, my son Joshua has the whitest name that you could possibly dream of. He has a Dutch last name. He was stopped in one county in Georgia and one county in Arkansas. My son has a lead foot. He's otherwise a straight and narrow kind of kid. In the county in Arkansas, they thought my son was white. They take him to jail, but he's not placed in jail in general population with the other black people. He's taken to the deputy sheriff's office and allowed to call home. And he's released on his own recognizance without bail and said, come back next month on the 27th for court. Son, we'll see you then. He's arrested on the same offense a few months later, tell you about this lead foot, in Gwinnett County, Georgia. Well, that officer recognizes him as black. And instead of being taken to the office to make a few calls and laugh it up with the sheriff's deputy, he is put back into population and called names and said what he is and what he isn't and what you're doing with this black Mercedes you're driving. Does it really belong to your mama? Did you steal it? And so the difference between how my son was treated when one officer thought he was black and the other one thought he was white, that's what privilege is. That's how it operates in this country. And that's what it means when, you know, a child who doesn't necessarily have the whitest name as my son sends a resume in for a job, but they never get the call back because Keisha doesn't get the call before Kimberly. And so that is how privilege truly operates. We can't legislate people's hearts, but we can check their behavior.
Good, okay. Hey, listen, we got assistant professor of psychology at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, Dr. Silvia Mazzula, joining us. Dr. Mazzula? How can we adjust some of our biases?
Well, Steve, I've been listening to the conversation, and there's three things that all of us here in this room could do. The first thing is we got to take it home. Racism is homegrown, supported by our society. So we really got to talk to our kids. I have a 7- and 9-year-old, and we've been talking about race and racism since they started talking. I tell them that it's their responsibility as good friends to stand up for kids that may get picked on because they're different. The second thing is, as a community, we gotta stop talking about this as an issue only for people of color. It's really an issue for all of us. We need to come together and figure out how to have these safe conversations, like what's happening here. We need to have this same talk in our communities, in our offices, in our homes. And the last thing is, we're living in a global society. We really need to embrace the idea of teamwork. There's tons of research that shows that when there's differences in a room, whether you're talking about corporate America or whether you're talking about the classroom, that when people bring in different ideas, different thoughts, that solutions are better.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you to all of you. This is not the easiest subject, but as I looked around the room, I looked at all of your faces. For me, it was hopeful. I think everybody wants to end up in a great place. So thank you all. I want to say thanks to all my guests, including Goldie, Jose, Dr. Greenwald, and Dr. Mazzula, for helping us explore this very complex subject.